Joining us now, Chaz Haywood. Chaz is the clerk of court in Harrisonburg, and he is also one of, I think, 8 candidates running for their Republican nomination to run for Congress in the 6th District. This is the seat of the retiring Bob Goodlatte. So Bob, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, he's out. He's retiring. He's had enough. His term as chairman expired. He doesn't want to be a backbencher, so he's retiring. So that's that. Now, all these candidates, they want to be the Republican nominee because this is a Republican district. And no matter what happens in 2018, whether the Democrats take over or not, the Republican nominee is going to get elected to Congress in the 6th District. So the stakes are high. How is it going to be determined? Not a primary, which I prefer, but through one of these crazy conventions that the Republicans love to do. And why do they love to have these crazy conventions? So they can cheat, steal, and manipulate the rules in order to benefit their candidates. That's why I hate these things. But there is going to be a convention. It is going to be in Harrisonburg, scene of the 2016 Harrisonburg heist. It'll be in Harrisonburg at JMU, May 19th. And, of course, we'll be there broadcasting live, God willing. So there's 8 candidates, but there's 3 major candidates. Chaz Haywood, who's going to be with us right now. Ben Klein, House of Delegates member. Cynthia Dunbar, State Committee woman. The real issue here is the nonsense that is going on in manipulating all the rules and cheating by people that are in charge, namely Scott Sayer, who is the chairman of the 6th District, who's playing around with the delegate list in order to favor his candidate, Cynthia Dunbar, which they also tried to favor Dunbar by manipulating the rules and trying to change this selection process, which is normally a majority, 50% people get eliminated, so you get half. That's been the precedent of all conventions, to a plurality, which favors their candidate Dunbar, who they're afraid can't get over 50%. I mean, this thing goes on and on and on. So to try to break this all down, Chaz Haywood is with us. Chaz, good to have you with us, man.
Good morning, John.
I'm not sure if I gave what's happening there justice, but look, I got to get your take on this because here's my question to you, Chaz. So the people understand there's a delegate selection process. You got to fill paperwork out and register as a delegate to go to the convention so that you can then vote in the convention for rules, for chairman, for the congressional candidate of your choice. A lot of these districts and units have already closed. The delegate lists are in. Those go from the unit chair to the chairman, who's Scott Sayer. And now Sayer is saying he's not going to release any of these until at the earliest April 9th, and it could be after that. Meantime, he has them. He's got a challenge for chairman. He hasn't given them to his opponent, Jennifer Brown. And I asked him if he's given them to his candidate, Cynthia Dunbar, and he refused to answer the question. So here's my question to Chaz Haywood. Have any of the delegate lists that are approved been provided to Chaz Haywood or the Chaz Haywood campaign?
Absolutely none, John. And I think I really appreciate you talking about this. I certainly listened yesterday. I think what you're saying in trying to explain it is confusing enough. And I'll tell you from being on the ground, and look, I'm a veteran. I've met with a lot of American Legions and VFWs and AMVETS groups and farm bureaus and all these groups. They are shocked at how difficult it is for them to come out and vote. These are the same individuals that came out and made sure we had President Trump elected. These are the same individuals that come out at our local board of supervisors and council meetings and are constantly being active Republicans. And they are being silenced because the 6th District is not doing what they should be doing. As candidates, we do our best to reach out. John, I even sent out a mailing, a very large mailing to every likely Republican in the entire 6th District. And I did that with a form that was pre-filed, that was pre-filled out for them with a return address to their unit chair or whoever it's supposed to go to. That wasn't about me. That was making sure that they understand that there's a process in place that they're missing out on. And, since I got into this, I've always been about just making sure that people have a voice. And there's a lot of disgruntled folks out there, which is not okay. It is not how the Republican Party, that's not how we operate. It's my party as well, and it's a little disappointing. But, just like we're President Trump mentioning yesterday, nation of laws, and those laws just need to be enforced in regards to California. I mean, we are also a party of rules, and those rules that are put in place need to be followed by everybody, regardless of their intentions.
All right, so Chaz Haywood, no pun intended here. Let's cut to the chase, right?
Sure.
So Scott Sayer, I asked him 5 times on the phone on Monday night. I said, today's what? Wednesday. Right. So I said, Scott, yes or no? The names of the approved delegates that are approved to go and vote in the convention that you now have in your hands, have you given those to Cynthia Dunbar or any representative of the Cynthia Dunbar campaign? Simple question, Scott. Yes or no? Scott Sayer, the chairman of the 6th District. Those lists go to the chairman. That's how the rules work. Simple question. Yes or no? I did give them to Cynthia Dunbar. I didn't give them to Cynthia Dunbar. 5 times he refused to answer the question, and his answer to me was, I'm doing an investigation, and I'm going to present the facts the final week of March. And I'm like, well, what exactly are you investigating? Yourself? You either gave her the list or you didn't. I find this to be dumbfounding. And Chaz, I mean, don't you think that it's unfair that if this chairman has the list of the approved delegates that have so far been approved, and if he gave them to the Dunbar campaign, of which he is an operative of, right? He's a Dunbar operative. He's for Dunbar. If the chairman gives the list to Dunbar and doesn't give the list to the other 7 candidates, doesn't that give the Dunbar campaign an overwhelming advantage? Because they have an extra, 5 or 6 weeks to mine those and figure out what they're going to do, and everybody else will only have a couple of weeks. Isn't that an unfair advantage?
Well, I think you have it right with the yes-no questions. I think we're tired of, like I said before, small print and being manipulated. And I think you asking a very direct questions where the answer is yes or no is the way to do it. I mean, we've talked for years about making sure that members of Congress have an up or down vote, period, so you know exactly what they're doing. So the rules are clear. Those rules were presented to all the candidates by the 6th District Committee. And I will tell you, we came out with a release yesterday, in the last 2 days, and what you'll see in that release is 5 of the 8 candidates, and a 6th one is releasing his own, and a 7th is another one actually is releasing their own, and we're all saying that something is wrong. We use the word shenanigans because shenanigans are going on. It's happening. And quite frankly, the rules state that each unit, after the unit mass meeting, will have to provide information, or 10 days, I think it is, in person, to Scott Sayer. So Scott Sayer, who's also a candidate in the 6th District as chair, has the information in his hand. So, regardless of what he says he's doing or not doing, or just not saying anything that he's doing, I think what we have to make sure we pay attention to is the perception of this. Because we are a big tent party. We are a party that is inclusive. We want to grow the Republican Party. It should be the goal of all Republicans. And this is not showing the public we continue to lose our millennial votes. We continue to lose. We talk about trust in government. People have lost trust, and we're trying to run to regain trust. And this doesn't help the cause. And we need to get together and make sure that what we are doing, that the public appreciates, the public realize that we are still their party of choice.
Okay, so that's a very nice statement you made. It's a very global statement, very interesting. But we're not getting to the detail here. What exactly is Scott Sayer doing as chairman that he shouldn't be doing? Lay that out for me and our listeners.
He has the W list. He is a candidate in the 6th District. He needs to reach out to every single individual, just like those running for Congress, because they will have an opportunity to vote for him or my good friend Jennifer Brown as well. They will have those individuals going to the convention. He has information that no one else should have. And things that we're starting to hear from others give some appearance and that there are other folks that have information that shouldn't be out there yet, because it's supposed to go to Scott Sayer. And early emails in the campaign to all campaigns explained that we would all be receiving it at the same time.
Chaz, define what you just said, because you really, I mean, you're really giving me great political speak now, and
Okay.
I like you, Chaz, but what you're doing is what drives people bananas, okay? So don't be part of this whole talk, all right? You're giving me the platitudes. Give me the detail. You just said other people have information that other people don't have. Define that. What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. I mean, there are interviews with the vice chairman of the 6th Congressional District, Matt Pedrick. There are interviews that can be found online where he states that he has seen delegate lists and that one of the other candidates has no delegates that have been turned in. How would Matt Pedrick, the vice chairman of the 6th Congressional District, who is also the campaign chairperson for Cynthia Dunbar, how would he know that there are no delegates in a unit if he wasn't given the information? It's pretty plain. They're stepping in it constantly.
Okay, so Matt Pedrick, vice chair of the 6th District, also Cynthia Dunbar's campaign chairman, has mentioned information about various delegates that you would only know had you had the list.
That's accurate.
Okay, and he's the chairman of the Dunbar campaign. So let me get back to the first question I asked, and then I know you want to talk about policy. We're going to have time for that. But we really have to get to the integrity of this selection process. So if these people that are Dunbar chairmen of campaigns and surrogates and operatives, if they give Cynthia Dunbar these delegate lists a month ahead of anybody else, is that a huge advantage for the Dunbar campaign, yes or no?
Well, yes. I'll answer yes or no because that's what you've asked me, yes. And I'll add the fact that anytime you're marketing something, and as 8 individuals running for Congress, we're all trying to put ourselves out there more, that we're a better candidate, that we're a more favorable candidate, that we're going to be able to move forward in November and defeat whatever Democrat has put placed before us. Absolutely, the more time you have to court these delegates to the convention. It's the known people. It's the only people that are going to be able to vote are on those lists. And for any individual or group to have those prior would totally be going against what the rules in place are, and and absolutely unethical.
Okay, so I had a slate running for national convention delegate to Cleveland in the 4th District in 2016, and we had to go through the same process, so I got to learn it trial by fire. I could tell you that, we were running against Cruz people and a bunch of other candidates, and we had no name ID other than me. We had no name ID. So if I had the list a month ahead of my opponents, we ended up winning anyway, but if I had it a month ahead, I mean, that would have been a tremendous advantage for us because we could have made more calls, sent mailers, planned it, done all these things that my opponents would not have been able to do in trying to get those delegates to vote for them. So, look, this is a real unfair advantage for Dunbar. And I'm out of time, Chaz, but I just got to tell you that I think Dunbar needs to come out and stop this. Because if she's going to be the nominee and has people under her name manipulating the rules and cheating and stealing and conniving and shenaniganing their way to the nomination, I think it's a black eye for her. And I think she's better than that. I've called her up.
Perception is important. Perception is very important.
I think so, too. I've called her up. She's not returned my call. I do want to get a rebuttal. But, Chaz, we're going to have you back so we can talk policy. But I don't think you guys can let this go because I think if you don't, Dunbar is going to win, and I think it's going to be a tattered process. Chaz Haywood, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, John.
All right, John Fredericks Radio Network. I'll be right back.